My mother never congratulated me on any achievement while worshiping my unemployed brother. She regrets everything after he destroyed her party. My mother has spent 30 years pretending I don't exist while worshiping my younger brother Jake. I graduated high school as valedictorian, and she told everyone Jake helped me study, even though he was failing sophomore year at the time. I got a full scholarship to engineering school, and she said it was probably a diversity quota they needed to fill. When I graduated magna cum laude, she didn't come to the ceremony because Jake had a football game where he sat on the bench the entire time. She took 300 photos of him in his uniform on the bench and posted them everywhere, talking about her athletic son. When I got my first job at an aerospace company, she told people I was doing basic data entry while Jake was finding himself. Jake was actually unemployed and living in her basement playing video games all day. When I designed a component that went into satellites, she said it was probably a team effort where I got lucky to be included. When Jake got a part-time job at a sporting goods store, she threw him a party and made a cake that said, "So proud of my successful son." She'd call Jake every morning to wish him a good day at work. She'd never once called me at my actual career. I bought my first house at 26 and invited her to see it. She walked through once, said it was small, then spent 2 hours talking about how Jake was thinking about maybe looking at apartments someday. When Jake moved into a studio apartment at 30, still partially paid for by her, she hired a professional photographer to document the move and created a photo album called Jake's Independence Journey. On my wedding day, she wore black and told guests she was mourning the loss of her baby boy to some woman, meaning me getting married meant less time for Jake somehow. She gave a speech entirely about Jake's future wedding and how beautiful it would be. My wife was sitting right there in her wedding dress, while my mother planned another wedding for her favorite son, who wasn't even dating anyone. When Jake brought home a girlfriend who lasted 3 weeks, my mother had already planned their entire future together, including grandchildren's names. When my wife actually got pregnant, my mother asked if we were sure we were ready for that responsibility. We were 32 with stable careers and a house. Jake was 35, still working retail, still taking money from her, but she said he'd be such a wonderful father someday. My son was born, and my mother visited once, held him for 5 minutes, said he looked nothing like our side of the family, then left to go to Jake's apartment because he was feeling lonely. When Jake's girlfriend's sister had a baby, my mother babysat every week and called herself surrogate grandma. She'd never once offered to babysit her actual grandchild. I got promoted to lead engineer on a government contract worth millions. My mother's response was to ask if that meant I'd have less time to help Jake with his resume. Jake hadn't updated his resume in 5 years. When Jake got promoted to shift supervisor at the sporting goods store, my mother rented a billboard, an actual billboard on the highway announcing Jake's promotion. It cost her $3,000. She'd never even acknowledged my promotions. The pattern continued for years. I'd achieve something, she'd ignore it or diminish it. Jake would do the bare minimum. She'd throw a parade. I started a consulting firm that grew to 12 employees. She told people I was playing with computers. Jake started a blog that got 40 views a month. She printed business cards calling him a published writer and handed them out at church. Then came her retirement party planning. She was retiring from her job as a school administrator and wanted a big celebration. She put Jake in charge of planning even though he'd never planned anything in his life. She told everyone Jake was organizing this amazing event for her. Jake forgot to book a venue, forgot to send invitations, and forgot to order food. 3 days before the party, he called me panicking. He wanted me to fix everything but not tell mom because she'd be disappointed in him. I said no. He called me selfish and said I was ruining mom's special day. The day of the party, about 15 people showed up to mom's backyard because Jake had only remembered to text some people that morning. No decorations, no food except chips Jake bought at a gas station, no music because Jake forgot speakers. My mother stood there trying to smile while people awkwardly stood around, wondering what was happening. Then she saw my car pull up next door. I was having a celebration at my house for my company's 5th anniversary. I'd rented tents, hired catering, had a DJ, invited 60 people, including all my employees and their families. My mother could see everything from her backyard. The smell of professional barbecue drifted over. The music was perfectly audible. The laughter and celebration were obvious. She walked over and demanded that I combine the parties to save her embarrassment. I said this was a corporate event that had been planned for months. She said I deliberately scheduled it to upstage her. I showed her the emails from 3 months ago, proving the date was set long before she'd announced her retirement. She asked why I hadn't told her. I said she'd never asked about my business because she was too busy promoting Jake's non-existent writing career. Jake came over and tried to grab food from my catering table, saying it was for mom's party. Full story on channel. Link below.